So Mr. Seeley is asking to set this over for 60 days. He says that there's apparently a pending case in Pierce County Superior Court. I will tell you, Mr. Seeley, I'm not really inclined to do that, given I've reviewed everything that's been submitted, including there's what's referred to as an extracted stipulation of facts, which kind of outlines the course of this. Apparently, this has been going on for a number of years. In your request, you'd indicated there's no contact orders in other jurisdictions, including federal court and Pierce County Superior Court. I think I could double check that. There's active military protection orders, and maybe I missed. There is a no contact order in Pierce County Superior Court. You also say that you indicated that there may be some sort of negotiations or some sort of maybe a disposition in Pierce County Superior Court, but I see that case has been on warrant status for a couple of years, and so I guess given the history of this case, I'm unsure why we can't go forward here today. And plus, even if a no contact order is entered, given the other orders in other places, I'm not sure, how your life would change at all. But go ahead, I'll hear from you. But I'm prepared to go today, and given how long and given the nature, and I've reviewed everything that's been submitted, including the petition and the and again, the extracted stipulation of facts. And so I guess I'll hear from you as to why we can't proceed today on this. I'm going to guess that Ms. Sneeden and Ms. Weston very much want to get this over with here today. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I first would like to address the warrant in Pierce County, Washington. When that case was initially brought against me, I was in pretrial confinement in the military, and because I wasn't able to make it to court because of my confinement, they issued a warrant. And because I was in confinement until May 4th, 2025, that's why there's still an active warrant. And as of the 22nd, so this Thursday, I have a warrant quash hearing in Pierce County District Court.
Okay.
Or Superior Court, excuse me.
Okay. And so how long is that no contact order in military no contact order in place?
The military Your Honor, the military no contact orders are effective until 26 December 2025, when I'm no longer under jurisdiction of the military. And the Pierce County Superior Court, from my understanding from my attorney, is those will be permanent no contact orders issued from the court once the case has a final disposition.
So I guess what's the problem with entering no contact orders here? Because you can never, it's kind of impossible to predict the future. You never know what's going to happen in Pierce County. If the case goes away for some weird reason, then all of a sudden they're left unprotected. And once you get out of the military.
Your Honor, we have a plea agreement on the table. Like I said in my statement, the plea agreement is I'm pleading guilty to one of the charges. And when I plead guilty to one of the charges, the no contact order will be issued by the court. We're just waiting after the hearing to get a court date to sit down in front of a judge and actually sign the plea agreement.
Okay. Well, are you opposing this no contact order?
I would like to make statements. Yes, Your Honor. If 60 days is too much, I would like to request at least another 2 weeks so I can prepare my case. I didn't submit any documents because I was advised by my attorney not to.
Okay. Ms. Sneeden, and then I guess I'll hear from you just because you're on my screen first. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. And then what's your position, first of all, on the request for a set over? And then I'll hear from you on the merits. And then go ahead first on the set over and then stop. And then I'll get Ms. Weston's input.
Okay, Your Honor. Well, first, I do not have a military protecting order. Because of these events, I actually was discharged from the military. So there's nothing the military can do to protect me. I'm no longer on active duty service. I would like for this to move forward, and I have a bunch of points that I am ready to talk to you about today, Your Honor, that I've listed.
Okay. Ms. Weston, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
And then what's your position on, again, first of all, the request for a set over?
I would prefer to move forward today, Your Honor. This has been ongoing for many years, as you can see, and I would just like to get this over with.
Are you still on the military, still in the military?
I am not, Your Honor. I got out of the military.
Okay. And so, Mr. Seeley, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to hear from both petitioners. This case is, again, this case started in these series of incidents. Does this go back to 2020 or 2021? I'd have to look. I know it's, when did all this start there, Ms. Sneeden?
2021, Your Honor.
Okay. And so I'm going to hear from them on the order, and then I'll hear from you. If you choose not to present information, that's up to you. But given that, again, there's a stipulation of facts in the record, which a lot of it's redacted, but I think I was able to figure out who people were talking about within the context of this case. We're going to go ahead and go forward today, and then I'll make a decision, and then we'll go from there. So Ms. Sneeden, I'll hear from you first.
Okay, Your Honor. So his criminal case that's brought up, I am listed as a witness for the state. So I'm working with them to provide them all the information, but he said he's pleading guilty. And then in the stipulation of facts, number 1314 is where it starts documenting his retaliatory and violent nature. So I obtained my MPO, and he broke into my apartment as revenge. When I got the CPO, so this is number 18 and 19 on the stipulation of facts, he faked that hostage situation, resulting in Pierce County SWAT coming, which is what his current criminal case is about. And then on page 34 of the exhibits, line 11 through 15, during the military court-martial, I testified about my fear that he would seek revenge by killing me, and he nodded, and this is on documentation. So I kind of just urged the court to go today, because also in the stipulation of facts, it shows that they had hired private investigators to follow us. So no contact orders do not protect us from the extents that they go to find us. He has already been found guilty for 2 counts of stalking, 1 for myself and 1 for Madison. And I guess I'm pleading to the court to protect us, because we really have no protection for the means that he is willing to go to find us.
Ms. Weston, you've previously been sworn. I'll hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor. I think Jacqueline really hit all of it, that there's a pattern of revenge and of threats of violence with Mr. Seeley. Even after all these years, I think that his anger about actions being taken to protect us and to stop him is just proven with the stipulation of facts and everything that is stated in those statements. Those are statements that he wrote, that he admitted to doing. I'm unsure of a Pierce County protection order. I never filed for one. I was never made aware of one. So as far as I'm concerned, I am unprotected right now.
So Mr. Seeley, could you raise your right hand, please? And do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you wish to say anything? You can put your hand down. Do you wish to say anything at this time? And
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
will say, before you do that, I want, on the information that I have, what they call JABs, or the Judicial Access Browser System, where I can see orders in different cases. Doesn't look to me like there's a no contact order in Pierce County Superior Court right now.
Yes, Your Honor. I have paperwork issued from the court when I went to my arraignment that says I will not have any contact with either Jacqueline Sneeden or Madison Weston. And that was from my arraignment, which should be able to be viewed from your system.
Okay, well, it's on that's probably on the release order, which is a condition of release, is something different from a formal no contact order. So it might be a condition of your release, you're not be able to, but that won't show up in a database as a formal no contact order.
Okay. And
Which
then
may be a distinction without a difference to you, but to me, there is a difference on that.
okay. And then back to the MPO, the stipulations of my release for my discharge paperwork. It also says that my MPOs are still in place and I will have no contacts with my victims. So there's still no contact orders for the military side, which I'm under their jurisdiction until 26 December 2025, in which I have to report to a federal probation officer as well, which I listed her contact information and the paper that I submitted to the court, Your Honor.
Okay.
Also, I would like to bring up that in the stipulation of fact, it shows that I did not break into Jacqueline Sneeden's apartment, that someone else did. All I did was return a firearm. And when it came to the court transcripts for my court martial, I will still object to that. I did not nod my head at Miss Sneeden to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, to annotate that I was going to come after her for revenge. I still object to that. She also did say it's going to be a who shoots first, so I take that as a threat, and I did file that in my first appeal from my military court as taking that as a threat, as it's going to be a who shoots first scenario. Those are words coming out of her mouth. Also, during my pretrial confinement, Miss Sneeden and Miss Weston felony vandalized my vehicle. I wasn't able to submit pictures to the court, but while it was in before it was in CID custody, immediately within 24 hours after my arrest, my window was broken out. There was a hatchet taken to the side of my door. My mirror was busted out, and it was over $14,000 worth of damage done to my truck after I was arrested. And only the victims and my chain of command in the military knew where I was staying, because I was not staying in my home. I was staying in a different barracks on post with a different unit. And like I said, only Miss Sneeden and Miss Weston and the chain of command knew where I was staying.
Your Honor, I'd like to speak on that.
Okay. And well, wait till he's done. Anything further there, Mr. Seeley?
Yes, Your Honor. I noticed that both in Miss Sneeden and Miss Weston's statements, they said that it had been 2 years of harassment. I would like to object to that. I started harassing them in July of 2021, and I stopped harassing Miss Sneeden, and it's stated in the stipulation of fact with dates for February 2022 and March 2023 for Miss Weston. And it says in the stipulation of fact that one of my family members, aka my mom, started harassing these two. So I was not harassing these individuals for 2 years. It was only a period less than 8 months and 6 months for the harassment. And then she claimed that I was harassing them or stalking them. I think it was Miss Nina said that in her statement, said that I was still harassing her and stalking her during my court martial, but I was in pretrial confinement. I was in jail. I could not stalk her. And I believe that to just be a blatant lie.
Anything further?
As of right now, unless anything else is brought up, that is it for now, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Sneeden, was it Ms. Sneeden you wanted to address that?
Yes, Your Honor. So first of all, I did not know where Mr. Seeley's truck was, so that was a lie. I have never damaged his vehicle, nor have I wanted to go around him. When you're a victim of stalking and the harassment and the violence that we were, you would not want to go near anything of theirs because you don't know what's going to happen. He also took the part of the court martial out of context. When I was asked, how do I think this will end? After I said that, I testified that he nodded, and that's on the record. I said that I think he will kill me, and I would try to defend myself if he were to break into my home. The last thing I would like, what did he just said I was blatant lying. I have not lied on record, Your Honor, is the point. I never damaged his vehicle. I don't know where these accusations are coming from. They're baseless. And it goes to show that he is still angry. And I think it emphasizes his history of retaliation. And my voice is starting to shake because I have dealt with this for years and I know his anger. And it's just showing that none of it's resided, Your Honor. If anything, we are definitely still in danger.
And Ms. Weston, did you wish to have anything to add or no?
Yes, Your Honor. As far as the damage to his vehicle, this is the first that I'm hearing of it, and I would really like that stricken from the record because there's no proof that her or I had anything to do with this. As I said, this is the first I'm hearing about it. I had no idea where he was staying and didn't know that his truck was vandalized. This is 2.5 years later, and I'm just hearing about it for the first time. So I would like that to be taken out of consideration. Also, the court-martial transcript clearly states that, and I think it's in the testimony, maybe not the stipulation of facts, that his mother was harassing us on behalf of him, as well as the burglary to our home was on behalf of him.
So Mr. Seeley, I'll give you the final word. Anything you'd like to say at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. I do not have any current ill will towards Miss Needham or Miss Weston. I have no interest in hurting them, stalking them, anything. I understand why they're upset. I did my time. I pled guilty to the charges for the military. I accepted the first no contact order. The first no contact order wasn't violated. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I have no interest in Miss Needham or Miss Weston. I understand that they fear for their life, but there's no reason for them to fear for their life. As it states in the stipulation of fact, all I wanted to do was make them fear, not actually hurt them. I have no violent history, no violent past. I've never actually physically threatened anybody. So I don't know where they're getting that I'm physically aggressive, because I've never hurt them or anybody, and that's court factual. As far as my vehicle goes, I still stand by that statement because they were the only two that knew where I was, to include the chain of command. And I know the chain of command wouldn't damage my vehicle. And it just so happened that within the first 24 hours that I was arrested, that my vehicle was damaged. Because if I was able to submit documents, I would be able to submit pictures, the pretrial confinement magistrate's notes where the CID officer says that my vehicle was found damaged. And then there's other documentation that I would submit also, that Miss Needham said that she didn't, they're blatant lies that I said that she made. It's right in front of you, Your Honor. She's making statements in her, she's making statements on her individual documents that contradict what the stipulation of fact from the court-martial says that she had to agree to in order for the prosecution to sign. So there are discrepancies.
Okay, so here's where I'm at on this case. Give me just a second. So these aren't criminal cases. These are civil cases for anti-harassment. If someone's harassing or somebody else, they can come to court, ask for an order for no contact. Unlawful harassment is defined as following: as a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person, and that serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. The course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional stress, and must actually cause substantial emotional distress to the petitioner, or in these cases, two petitioners. Course of conduct is just defined as a pattern of conduct, composed of a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. In this case, I'll make the following findings. Contained in the record, there's a timeline of events outlined by the petitioners. This all began in July of 2021 with Mr. Seeley, Ms. Sneeden, Ms. Weston were all in the military. Ms. Sneeden was in a position as a victim advocate through some fairly sophisticated manipulation, deception, impersonating other people. Mr. Seeley began a series of contacts, a course of conduct, which really had no other purpose other than to frighten, intimidate, or harass Ms. Sneeden. In fact, Mr. Seeley, one of his comments, I was kind of struck by your comment when you said, well, I didn't harass them for 2 years. I only harassed them for 8 months. Shouldn't have been harassing them at all. 8 months is, I'm not making a finding for exactly how long this went on, even though you may have stopped. I mean, the feelings and the reaction to Ms. Weston and Ms. Sneeden is going to continue. And based on their body language and demeanor, it's probably continuing till now. You could say, well, they don't have any reason to fear me and all that sort of stuff. But I understand why they would continue to feel that way. You have said that you bear them no ill will or don't want any contact to them. That's good. I hope you mean that. But I am going to enter orders today. And these civil orders, they can't do them indefinite. Typically, the default position is a year. But in this case, given the level of harassment that I've seen that's contained in the file, both with the stipulated extraction of facts, I'm not sure I said that right, combined with the statements of Ms. Weston and Ms. Whedon, combined with the transcript of the military I guess tribunal they call it. I'm not sure they call that. That was a hearing of some sort or a trial within the military. I've never been in the military. I'm not sure specifically what that was called, but the order is going to be in place for both of you are going to be in place for 5 years. And so, and Mr. Seeley, again, this should be, I'm hoping this just makes it easy for you. It draws a bright line. You say, well, there's an order. They say, well, we're not sure about that. I don't see an order in Superior Court. I tend to, what Ms. Sneeden says makes a lot of sense, that if he's not in the military order may not bring much protection or comfort for her, but there's going to be an order here. You understand that?
I understand, Your Honor.
And you're not to have any contact with them, not engage in stalking, don't come within 1,000 feet of them, their residence or place of employment. And they're just not in any way a part of your lives. Do you understand that?
I understand, Your Honor.
And, and I'm also sensing one thing that maybe is, in some way, it seems to me like you're kind of trying to shift blame from yourself to them. But this order's in place. You spent time in the military facility and are being prosecuted in Pierce County Superior Court because of your actions. And I hope you understand that. These two individuals are not to blame.
I understand.
And so the order will be the order will be in place for a period of 5 years. And like I say, and you can get copies of this. All of you can get copies of this, or actually, do we have their emails to send it to them? The petitioners will have an email. It'll get sent to you at the email that you provided. And if we have your email, Mr. Seeley, you'll get a copy of it also.
Okay.
Your Honor.
And we do have that. And then you folks are free to go. You'll get a copy of the order later today. What's that?
May I ask one question, Your Honor?
Yes.
Will this also include like no third-party surveillance?
Yeah, and that includes third-party contact. And then that's directly or indirectly. So yes, is a short answer. If you have someone on your behalf bothering these people, and I understand that may be disputed, but nonetheless, if you have anybody do anything on your behalf with regard to these two individuals, most courts, I know I certainly would consider this a violation of the order. Do you understand that, Mr. Seeley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is done with these folks in any way, shape, or form.
I understand, Your Honor.
Great. So, do we hear anything from her? All right. So, and it's now, she's supposed to be here at 9. It's now 5 minutes till 10. This is going to be dismissed, but without prejudice, which means and I'm not sure what's happening. I know, Ms. McGowan, you've been here before. There's a history of other orders, but given her lack of appearance.
I might need to be new, but we were going to deny it last time.
Okay, this should be a I'll do it when we're done. And so this is going to be dismissed without prejudice. If she chooses to refile again, she can. But for today, this will be dismissed and you're free to go. And she'll need to refile and reserve you. I'm sorry, ma'am?
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Mary is actually in jail. She went to jail
Okay.
last night for harassing me. There was video footage of her kicking my door. She had been taunting me. Is there any way the court could assist me with an anti-harassment order?
Have to go and get an order, like she was asking for an order against you, and so you would need to do the same thing. I can't, you wouldn't want me to be helping her out, and I really can't help you out either. I have to stay neutral in these situations, but there's nothing to stop you from getting an order.
Okay, Your Honor, I was just wanting your legal advice on how to proceed.
See, and that's the thing, I can't really give advice up here.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go, ma'am. And then you too, Ms. Dretjes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr.
Get out of there.
Farr, can you come on the Zoom call, please?
It's Miss Farr. Sorry, I was here earlier. I couldn't work my mute button.
Yeah, could you activate your camera, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you're here with, you're asking for an order against Mr. Shepard?
Yes, Your Honor.
It looks like, and then, what case are you here for, ma'am, in the back? Yes. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Shepard, it looks like you just filed something here today. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was served Saturday afternoon, I believe it was, and I wasn't able to, file anything in a timely manner. So I just submitted what I could via email. And I couldn't even submit the videos, the full videos, because they were too long. So.
Okay. So, ma'am, there are service requirements. They need to be filed within a certain time period. I haven't seen what he's been, and I don't even see them in, I think, in
They were
Laserfish.
in the wrong format.
Okay.
We couldn't file them.
Okay. And so they were in the wrong format and they couldn't file them. So how does next Tuesday look? I don't think it looks that bad, does it?
I think it ever.
And we couldn't file them, Mr. Shepard. They couldn't make it into the file there.
Okay. I mean, I just had it was just a couple of videos where they came across the street harassing me, and then I just had a declaration, which I could just read. It's just a simple declaration.
So do you live across the street from each other?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That's bigger than I thought. Yeah, but then everyone that comes in this week will go on the second. We could do the second though. I'm not here on the second. We'll do the constitution conference. So, hang on just a minute.
It might be lower than 10. I have to go through and verify.
I'm requesting that the order be dropped. I'm not trying to harass or anybody or anything. I don't know this family. I'm willing to stay away from them and do whatever. The only thing is that I ride the bus. We both take the transit, and we both live right by the bus stop. I have 4 kids, 2 kids that live here with me, a 5-year-old that plays across the street with kids in their neighborhood. And so now I can't let my kid go over there because they're harassing me, calling me like a child molester or predator and all kinds of names that's not a directive of my character, and it's really tearing me down. And all I did was ask their daughter, "Hey, do I know you?" I didn't even know how old the girl was. She constantly looks at me and stares at me from across the street. I was over there walking my dog one day. She was walking her dog, and I said, "Do I know you?" And her husband or her dad, I didn't even know, her boyfriend, whoever, he has a lot of tattoos on his face. He came at me and said, "Stop talking to my daughter." And I said, "Hey, brother, all I did was ask if I knew her or knew you guys, knew your family." And I walked away. And then from then on, they just constantly yelling at me from across the street, telling me to stop talking to their daughter. And I just sit out back. I sit on my patio and enjoy the sunshine, and I grill, and I run 5 to 6 miles a day through these neighborhoods. And I exercise and I walk my dog and I train my dog and I play with my kids outside. And now I feel like I can't even go out on the sidewalk because I've simply asked the girl, "Do I know you?"
Ms.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. And then Ms. Farr? Okay,
Your Honor.
you have been sworn in, so hang on just a second. So could you raise your right hand, ma'am? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Put your hand down. And then go ahead, I'll hear from you.
Okay, I apologize. So my daughter had been telling me for like 3 weeks that there was this guy that made her feel uncomfortable, that had been harassing her. I had never seen him. We did go to the bus stop one day, and she pointed him out to me across the street. I did walk ways down the ways to take a picture just in case, because I was not wanting something to happen in the future of me not be able to have at least something to put with that from what my daughter had been telling me. He looked at me and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm just taking a picture. My daughter says that you've been harassing her." And that should have been it. Like, really, he should have been like, "Well, no, I'm not," or like, any type of appropriate response. And then he started screaming at us. So I went to go cross the street. He also told me that he liked my sweater and that I would, no offense, suck good. And so my boyfriend and my daughter started screaming at him, which I don't condone. I tried to get them to stop, but I was also in the process of calling 911 at that point in time. So they both got in a screaming match. I also have videos of him sitting here saying that he thinks he's related to my daughter, saying all kinds of obscene things. I've never seen his kids. I've only seen him like 3 different times. 2 of them were on the bus. I have not had a time. I have it tagged on the DVR from the bus driver to be able to get footage from the bus. I've not been able to submit to court. I don't really know anything but his name. I had to get that from the police officers. And at this point, I'm asking for protection for my daughter, who feels very, very uncomfortable around him. The cops even have heard him say that he thinks that he's related to my daughter. It's not just that he says that, "Hey, do I know you?" It's very creepy and scary to have a strange man thinking that he's related to your kid and also screaming sexual things and other stuff and making her feel uncomfortable. So all I want is for him to leave us alone. The other thing is, the officers told me that this isn't not the only protection order or order that is being served on this person. I don't know any details. But that's also very concerning from a parent to know that I don't know anything about this person. There might be other things that they are doing, and I just want to protect my kid.
How long have you lived there, ma'am?
16 years.
How long have Mr. Shepard, how long have you lived where you live?
2.5 years.
All right. And you've never had any contact before this?
Never.
And then you both say you have video, none of which
Yes.
has been submitted. All right, we're gonna reset this off till next Tuesday. I'll look at both videos and make a decision.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, for now, though, the order, and actually, I'm gonna remove the distance restriction. It says you're, that wasn't clear there. You're not to come within 1,000 feet of your residence. I'm just saying you're not to have any contact. And don't go onto their property and don't have any contact with either, any of the, how old's your child, ma'am? You're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm having a problem with my phone. My child
13.
is 13. She's about to be 14 in August, and then I also have
Okay,
a
no, I
15-year-old
just,
child.
what you, I got the answer already. So both, and so Mr. Shepard,
Yes, Your Honor.
it's 27th, right?
I also have 2 kids that live here with me.
How old are they?
I have an 8-month-old. Well, she's about to be 9 months in about a week. And then I have a 5-year-old.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, can you give me a, wait, oh, I got it right there. We'll see you all in 8 days. And a copy of this will get emailed to you. And Mr. Shepard, the video that you tried to submit wasn't in a format that we could read, so you need to take a look at that. And Ms.
Yes, Your Honor.
Farr, any video, you need to get that in so I can see it before, next Tuesday.
Is there a website where you could upload the video? Because the email, it won't allow me to send it via email.
No, you have to come in here.
Okay,
And with a,
say again, what was the last part?
I'm sorry,
What was the last part
with
you
a
said?
flash drive, need a flash drive and bring it in.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll see you in 8 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good night.
Thank you. Myer, can you come on the Zoom call, please? Ms. Adams, come on up and take a seat. So you folks live in the same complex there?
Yes, we live in the same, it's like a shared home almost. I guess you could say it's like a duplex almost.
And so, Ms. Myers, I'll start with you. Could you raise your, and again, I should say, as far as I know, no relation. She has the same last name as I do, but I'm not related to her, I don't think. And so, you raise your right hand, ma'am. You swear and affirm the information testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. How is it you need an order against Ms. Adams?
So there has been so many instances where I have just felt like she's been coming to my window, yelling through my window, and I have just kind of been putting up with it. I wasn't sure what to do, so I called the cops because she had been yelling through my window one night and I was ignoring her, and she's screaming and yelling about my cat. And my son was laying on the couch and he started crying. So I noticed that it started to like affect him because he got scared. So then I called the cops and
What is she yelling?
she's yelling, "You need to come get your cat. It's cold outside. They need to come inside." And yelling like, "I'm gonna call Animal Protective Services or whatever." She seems to be super concerned about my animals, or she's calling my animals a lot, and I've told her to just leave them alone. This was in the middle of the night, so I called the cops. I just had
What do you
told
mean
them,
by the middle of the night? The middle of the night can be 6:30 at night to someone, some other
Well,
people,
it
the middle
was-
of the night's 2 a.m.
it was dark, so but it wasn't like 2 a.m. I want to say it was like 7 o'clock at night because my
I
son
see.
was still up. So when
How
I
many animals do you have? You said my animals, and then I heard about a cat. You have more than
Yeah.
one animal?
I do, I have 3 cats.
Okay, continue on, sorry.
That's okay. So I contacted the police and I told them that this has been something that I just like, I'm not sure what to do. She's yelling through my window, she's scaring my son, and it's gotten to the point where I feel like I can't like open my blinds, I have to cover windows. She doesn't really listen when it comes to me just saying like to leave me alone. At first I told them, I was like, I don't have like any proof. I'm like, this has all been like verbal. And they're actually the ones that like told me to get an anti-harassment protection order. Cause they're like, if she's just saying these things and you get that protection order, then that means that when you call, then we can actually do something. But every time that it would happen, I would call just to like put it on record. I don't have a record of the police, of me calling the police, because I tried to get like a online and I submitted to get records, and then it said it took 5 days, and then they weren't able to get them, and so then I have to wait another 5 days. So it just, I wasn't able to get those specific ones. But I did have a friend that was present during one of these instances where she brought her kids over, and whenever her kids come over, she'll come to the window, my window, and say they can play for a little bit, but after that they can't play because she can't take the screaming. And our kids are like 11, 8, 2 are 11 and like 8, so they're just playing like normal kids will. And when we told her that just to like leave us alone, she started calling me a bitch. She's yelling, "You're a bitch, you're just a bitch." And then she's like, "Do you want to fight?" And for me, it just is causing me anxiety because it's around my son. And I've talked to the landlord. Even the maintenance people have come to me and said that she'll yell at them as well to like leave, or so it's just like a constant thing. And the only reason I'm even doing this protection order right now is because my son is getting affected by it. Like he even is so anxious about it, or when she comes to the window, he'll be like, "Can we just move?" Because it's such a constant. And she isn't doing anything to us like physically, but it's to the point where it's like mentally where we're just like can't even be comfortable in our home.
And how long have you lived there?
I've lived here for almost 2 years in August.
And then, was she there when you got there, or did she move in after that?
She wasn't. She moved in after. And the
And
landlord
how
had
did things go? It sounds like I read some of your, I mean, you had some texts from other people. It sounds like things started off well, or at least not bad.
Yeah, they were okay in the beginning. The landlord had told me because he wanted to, he knew that I had my son who's young, he's 11, and that I work night shift. So he was talking to me about like trying to bring someone in that's quiet and who isn't going to be loud because he's like, I know you work night shift. So he was under the impression that there wasn't going to be any issues. When I started going to him about it, he would apologize to me and he would say like, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that she was going to be this difficult. I would text him and he would say like, I'm going to talk to her. And when he would talk to her, it would go little periods of time where she would just leave me alone, but then it would just escalate after that. And I personally like when I live in places, and I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in Georgia, I've lived in Kansas, I lived on military posts where I've never had this happen. So I wasn't sure what to do. Um, it's just come to the point where I can't even, my son can't even play outside, or my friend doesn't even want to come over with their kids because she's like, oh, she's going to come yell at us, or my son is like, she'll tell me stuff about the cat. And she's like, even directly talking to my son sometimes, and he's 11.
Okay. Let me hear from her. Hang on just a second. You submitted a video.
I did. So once this started and I had talked to the cops and I had told them, I'm like, I have no proof because it's all been verbal. They advised me to get a camera for my front door. And they said that they would be able to use those, because I said that to them. I was like, am I even able to use that? Like, and they're like, yeah, we use it all the time in instances. Can I add one more thing as well, just to add
Yes.
to the story? There is like this one hose, and it does sound very trivial, but so there's a hose that we share, and it has like a spigot, like the nozzle on the end, and we're supposed to share it. She took it off and said that she was going to keep it in her place because she has had it stolen before. I've almost been here for 2 years and I've had no issues, like nothing. Nobody's come onto the property. It's been safe. Like I've had no issues at all. So I just let it be because I don't want it to be an issue. So my friend lent me a hose and the spigot on the end, or the trigger thing that you put to like wash a car or whatever. I went back,
Nozzle?
yeah, a nozzle. I went back out there and
Okay.
it was gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like she took it. And
Okay.
I'm like, for me to go knock on her door to ask for something that is mine, I didn't even want to do that because I'm like, I already know this is going to be an issue. She's going to say something about the nozzle. She's going to like, you don't just take something that's not yours. So I did contact the police and I apologized so many times because I feel like I'm wasting their time. And I told them, I was like, I'm so sorry. They keep reassuring me. They're like, no, this is what we're here for. It's not okay that this happened. She shouldn't be doing these kinds of things. And I'm like, and I know it's such a trivial thing, but I shouldn't have to like worry about my property being taken by someone. And then I have to go knock on their door to be like, can you please give it back? She tried to imply that her one in the back was stolen. I don't even go in the back in her area at all. At all. Like I don't touch anything back there. She
Did
said
you
that
get your nozzle back?
I did. She gave it back to them. So she did say that she took it. So that's like the thing too, that I'm like, I don't understand. So it's just been an ongoing issue.
Let me hear from her.
Okay.
Ma'am, raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I can put your hand down. What's your response to what you just heard?
Did you receive, this is 11 pages of my,
When did that come in?
I didn't know I was supposed to have it like a week ahead of time. I got reprimanded at the counter. I brought it
when-
in Wednesday or Thursday. It's directly to you or your honor.
Respondents exhibits. No, I did not see that, to tell you the truth. 12 pages.
Do you want to take a moment and read it? It's
Yeah,
not
I
really,
do.
okay, I'll be quiet then.
So, I don't know if you had a chance to read what she submitted there, Ms. Meyer.
I didn't, not if it wasn't able to go through.
No, it was all handwritten and it's there, but it was submitted on Wednesday. You know, on the final paragraph, and I have a number of questions.
Okay.
And the first is, I'm fine with never having to interact with Bianca Myer or her son again. However, I expect the same consideration. I do not want her, her son, her friend, or her friend's children anywhere within my sight. I don't want any of them to set foot in your yard. Isn't it a shared yard?
It's not really, the way it's situated, it's an old house. And when I moved in just a little over a year ago, and she'd moved in, and it doesn't really matter how long, but just 4 months before me. It seems to be an issue with her. So she's in the old house, and part of it goes off like here and in the back. And it was just a big room, and the landlord converted into a house, basically. So so she has the front yard. I would prefer it the other way around, but because I'm responsible for mowing the backyard. She has no entrance. She doesn't have a back door. In my contract, it says I'm responsible for mowing the lawn and taking care of the lawn, and which I broke my wrist completely in half by trying to move a branch. But not only that, it's private. How I live and move about in my apartment is private. The landlord has, I probably shouldn't mention it because it'll get repeated back. There's some gossiping going on, I've noticed in that circle, but where he's come on the property, and we're not always, this is my home and it's private back there. There's fence and everybody's out there. So you walk about your home comfortable. I'm not
I'm not completely following everything you're saying to me. My question to you, I think, was a pretty simple one.
okay.
And that is the backyard shared? And it's not uncommon to have common areas in rental property, like
It
an
is not in
apartment.
the
You can have-
contract.
ma'am,
It
please
is
don't
not in the
interrupt me.
contract.
Can you please not interrupt me, please?
I'm sorry.
I won't interrupt you either, all right? So, but is the general understanding that's a common area where, I mean, she apparently has a kid who sometimes hangs out there with friends. Is that she was telling me and someplace else in there that was a shared backyard. And so is that or is that not the case in your opinion?
It is not. And also, this is how I'm very, very disappointed, and I'm surprised that she's done this because I've been very generous to her. I've given her furniture, I've given her clothes, I've given her linen, I've taken care of her cats while she started a graveyard shift at the hospital in Tacoma. I don't believe that her son is a nervous type. She leaves him home all night long by himself. He's fine at 11. I've talked with the boy. I've offered if he's afraid, I'm right there. You can come and talk to me. I've given him a guitar. I've just been neighborly. And like I said, I took care of her cats for a couple of weeks while she got acclimated, and how I took care of them is she couldn't get them in the house and they needed to be in the house. She expects me not to speak to her cats. We're all right there together. We share a laundry room, but her cats are on top of my car. I don't mind. It's a 24-year-old car. They like to sleep on the sunroof. Pearl was there like yesterday. She doesn't even want me to speak to them. And they're on my deck. And Jordan, one of the boy cats, managed to get in. He chewed his way through the pet thing that I had made and got into the house. And I have 6 cats myself, but it wasn't a friendly environment for the first 6 months when I moved in. She did not want me to go into her yard. She came out and yelled at me and embarrassed me in front of the maintenance guy. And I was just standing there asking him if I could make him a couple sandwiches for lunch. And she comes out and her friend's right there with her. And I needed to cross over to her yard to go around to the back to carry lumber. I'm not going to carry it through my house like that because I was building a pet enclosure. She has repeatedly told me she does not want me in her front yard. I'm not lingering. And I also, and I'm sorry, I mean, if the landlord could rig something else up with the faucet, I'm fine, but it's right there. I'm not, the curtains are closed a lot. And I did communicate with her through her window. Sometimes she'd sit on the couch, her and Hunter, and we'd visit a little bit for whatever the reason was. I wasn't yelling at her. I did call out to her, and I mentioned that about Pearl. She just had surgery and it was pouring down rain. And I was leaving to go to the store and Pearl was looking at me to get her in and she wasn't responding. But anyway, no, we were friends. We weren't friends. I want to say we were friends, even though she helped me with some things too. I broke my wrist. She zipped up my pants for me, offered to take me to the ER. She took my cat litter in for me. She took my water in for me. And so and all of a sudden in January, I offered to have her cat, I got a $300 voucher to have Pearl fixed and set up the appointment. She was all fine with it. All of a sudden, no, that's off. I said, that's fine. I'm not going to do any more. I won't do any more for you. And I walked out of the picture. So I'm not in it the first 6 months. I feel attacked. And then she started approaching me. She helped me dig a hole. I lost one of my cats. I'm out in the backyard digging a hole with a broken wrist. She had dug the first few holes, So we were interacting neighborly. I had told her originally after the first 6 months, and I saw it wasn't going well. I said, look, we're going to get along one way or another because I'm not moving. And maybe that is her goal. My landlord has never come to me and said there was a problem. When she puts her arm, people will do this to us without doing this, okay? And I stay away. I've never been okay with the kids in the backyard. And this is my home. Sometimes I walk to get something in the kitchen or whatever, naked. I really don't want that to come back to the court and say I was showing myself naked to the children when I don't even know that they're out there. It is a private backyard. She doesn't have entrance through the back door. There is nothing in my contract said that it was shared. And for the first year, but the kids didn't go back there. And all of a sudden one day I come home and there's, why should I have to put up with all these other kids that don't even live there in my backyard screaming? I'm not a well person as it is. I have a lot of health issues and I need peace and quiet in my own home. And that's all I'm asking for. I can stay away from her. I don't need to anything. And I won't. It's not reconcilable at all. I'm really hurt by her because I've given her nice furniture and other things. I've just tried to be neighborly with her, and I'm really disappointed that she has felt that she needs to do this. The nozzle, it happened more in the apartment I lived in. Somebody took my nozzle, cut the end of the hose. So that's just habit. She knows I was in a habit of doing that. Didn't steal anything. She goes on to say that I stole her possessions. What possessions? It was the nozzle. And I had a heart attack, 10 o'clock at night. I've got 2 police officers at my door. I've got a family too. And I'm thinking something's happened to them over a nozzle. She knows all she has to do is ask me. I did get upset because when I went to the window, because the kids were out playing when I came home that day, and it's all in here. And I asked, her friend I just talked to the window, and her friend was standing right there. There's no sense in knocking. They're probably not even going to come anyway, to tell her friend to tell the kids to quiet down. Because that's all. And her son was not present. He was in the backyard when I went there, because it's right there. And he was there when I went back. She's lying to you. She's lying to the court.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yeah, give me a minute here. Go ahead, ma'am, Ms. Myer.
So the first time that the incident happened with the kids in the backyard, which the yard is huge. It's a really huge backyard. Like right behind the house, there's another set of apartments that kids all play in back there. Like we're surrounded by houses. So there's kids that play in this on the other side of the fence. So the first time that this happened with the yard, I did talk to the landlord and I did say, she's saying that the yard isn't shared. I just like wanted to make sure, because I'm like, if it's not shared, then I won't have Hunter go back there. And he said, no, the backyard is shared. He said that it's an open area. He's like, why would there be that big backyard if your son couldn't play in it? Like there was even toys, there was even like a house back there that he put back there for my son to play with. In regards to her saying that she has been generous, I know that she is elderly. I know that she's older. I try to be polite, and I just have been trying to be nice. So yes, of course, like when she asks me for help, or when she wants to say like, oh, I have this for you, I'm like, oh, sure, like I'll look through it. But that doesn't like justify the way that she has been talking to me, or the way that she approaches my window, or anything. Like I have never given her anything. I've helped her with things, but I'm not saying like, oh, I've been generous to her, so because I've been that way, that should give her no right to do anything to me. That's not the case. So I have
What
never
about the guitar?
the guitar. She gave my son a guitar and she told me, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. And then she asked for it back. So that was the end of the story for that.
How
there,
long did he have the guitar?
oh, not very long. He didn't really play with it. I want to say it was like maybe a few weeks or so. Like she gave it and then it was just kind of there. And then she asked for it back and then that was the end of it. And I didn't even think anything of that. I didn't even remember that until she said that. But I will say that when she says that she's supposed to mow her own lawn, I'm not sure how that is for her, because for me, the landlord has maintenance people that come out and mow it. They take care of that on my side at least. So there was one instance where right in front of my door, I heard yelling and there was stuff going on. So I went out there and I was like, what's going on? And the maintenance men are like, oh, we went out to the backyard to mow the lawn, but your neighbor came out and started yelling at us saying like, what are you doing on my property? So we stopped and we came out, and then she's doing that. And I'm like, what's going on? Like I kept trying to figure out what was going on. And she's like, this has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you. So it was just kind of like an issue, but it's all happening by my front door. And in those videos that I sent you, it shows her walking in the front door, like through the front of like my door. And the reason that I say that there's no reason for her to be in the front is because she has access to the backyard through her area, and for her to come out in front, it's like I'm surrounded by her basically. So she'll walk out and she'll come around to my window, yell through my window. She'll walk around all the way to the back. Plus she has, so it's, I feel like I'm surrounded where she's in the back and I never go back there unless my son is playing. And it's so, I was gonna even like draw a diagram because I'm like the yard is so far back there. It's not even close to her place. She has a huge patio and the yard is way in the back. So they're not even close to her windows or anything. And they're not even interested in like what's going on over here around her. They're out there playing and they're not screaming. They're only 8 and 11. So I have talked to the landlord. He has confirmed that it is a shared yard. The maintenance men have come to me multiple times about her. And even just a few days ago, they came out and mowed my lawn and they were like, I brought my wife and the maintenance guy's like, I brought my girlfriend to help me mow the lawn and I'm trying to move quickly because I know that the neighbor might yell or do something. So they are even aware. They brought it to me about the way that she's speaking to them. And I just apologize. I'm just like, I know I feel the same way because I can't even be in my home because she comes and yells in the windows. So it's not something that I'm just like throwing up out of thin air. Like it's something that has been ongoing. I've just kind of dealt with it because I'm like, I don't know what else to do. And then my family and my friends have come to me and been like, no, that's harassment. You don't just like have someone come to your window and yell through the window. I am not a yeller. I don't scream. I don't yell. I'm a single mom. I've raised my son. He's 11 years old. And she says that he's not a nervous kid. My son literally has anxiety. He's been diagnosed with sensory delay because he gets overstimulated in situations. If I have to like give you documents about his IEP and his anxiety, like I can also do that. My son lives in a 2-house household. He lives with his dad, he lives with me. It's not always an easy situation. And for me, this is solely about my son. I just don't want him to feel like we have to worry about the neighbor coming to the window. Like he will tell me like, Mom, like we should just move because it's so much. Like it's gotten to a point where it's so much. She says that she's going to leave me alone, but I have left her alone since the incident with the cat and the vet.
Hang on just a minute. Sorry, Ms. Meyer. Find out who that is and don't let them in until they identify themselves. You've already let them in. Yeah. Well, you can send them a chat, find out who they are first.
Can I go ahead? Sorry.
No, just hang on just a second.
Okay.
Tell them they can they can watch on YouTube and then go ahead and take it up and take it off. You may continue, Ms. Meyer.
I also just like want to add that if I need to, because I did talk to the landlord about this, he is aware that I have filed this anti-harassment and he advised me to like go ahead. So I've been told by multiple people that it's something that I should just do because I don't know what to do at this point. She, even her saying like she knows when my son is here alone or things like that, like that's like how even just saying things like that is how she's aware of like things that are going on. I have a friend that comes and picks him up. He's with his dad part of the night. So that's even that I'm like, she's so focused and knows what is going on in my place or around me. So that I don't have any idea what's going on with her ever because she's constantly over here. So the reason that she says that I'll leave her alone and I won't have any contact with her, We tried that with the cat and it just escalated and got worse. So that's why I'm at the point where I'm like, if this doesn't go through, is it going to make me to the point where I'm going to have to move? Because she says that she's not going to talk to me or leave me alone. But I feel like since that, it has escalated. Because that last incident where she was yelling through my window, calling me a bitch, she literally was like, "You're a bitch. Do you want to fight?" Like, she literally was yelling that through my window. My friend was there too, and I sent you the document of when she said that. Like that, it's come to the point where it's just too much. My landlord already confirmed that it's a backyard that is shared. He's already confirmed that. And he's been here when the kids were in the backyard. He has been here present and he's never approached me and he did not say they need to go in the front because that's her backyard. And if I need to get like a letter or something from the landlord, I can also do that because I know that he has talked to her. And he, even in that, I sent you a text message from him as well, even saying like, I'm going to talk to her. She needs to leave you alone. Like he's been aware of it.
Go ahead. I'll hear from you, ma'am.
There's a video.
Yes. I mean, it's very short. I don't think it shows
What
me that
is
much.
it of? Am I calling her out to fight with the broken wrist?
No,
I'm
there's
70
no-
years
as
old.
far as I
I
can-
don't do
Okay,
that.
so,
That's a lie.
okay.
But if it's on the recording and I
Well,
don't know what, and
there's-
maybe I'm out of my mind or something.
You know, earlier you had said like the landlord favors her. What did
does
you
favor
mean
her.
by that?
He does, excuse me?
What did you mean by that?
He does favor, he was, all right, here's an example. She requested an immediate protection order. The day that, I'll get to that, because he was screaming at me about her being out there. So she
The
ordered.
landlord was screaming at you.
Landlord was screaming at me, and I said, "You're showing favoritism." So she filed a immediate protection order on May 5th. You've read this. On the next day, I'm standing on my deck. The landlord had come out because there's a problem with the raccoons. So he's out in the backyard too. She comes out around her house. So she's coming around the back. And so there's this opening between the fence and the house. And she's standing there with her friend, and I'm on the deck, and she's faced toward me and giving me the dirtiest looks. She's provoking me. And then she's leaning into her friend, whispering. And I told the landlord, she's standing right there, provoking me. This is I have no privacy here. So she did that. And then exactly 6 days later, the maintenance guy, I guess, brought his girlfriend. I've never had a problem with them. When I first moved in, I didn't know. The landlord doesn't give you any notice. He's just all over the place. But I'm standing in my kitchen. I'm going, "Who's this guy in my backyard?" I yelled out, "What are you doing in my backyard?" That was the end of it. That was all it was. But she's made more out of it than it is. She's adding things to things and blowing them up to make a case for herself, and she's lying. So again, so the maintenance guy comes over. He's got his girlfriend. This was May 12th, 6 days from. She needs that immediate protection from me. I can see that the maintenance guy, he was mowing my little lawn, part of my lawn, what I cut out for myself. And his wife was there, I guess, her girlfriend, and over by where she was at, she was hiding there between the house and the fence, gossiping. That's what she did. I've had nothing to do with her. Since January, when she declined my offer to take the cat to the vet because she told me she didn't have any money to pay for Pearl to get fixed because Pearl had gotten pregnant twice. The cats are all over the place. I don't know how she expects me not to talk to them or have anything to do with them. They're all over the place. Then I told her I was leaving from my house. It was going to the store. It was pouring down rain, and I could see her in there. I don't go to her window. I had gone to her when we were talking a couple different times. If I went up to her, I can't help it that the nozzle's by her window. I don't even look at it now, you know, but I had left that night, it's pouring down rain, and Pearl was she was all over the place trying to get in the house, and she couldn't get her attention. And I said, Pearl needs to come in. I'm not screaming. I'm at my car in the driveway. And she ignores me. And I could tell that she heard me.
So ma'am, I'm just going to stop you for a second, but I frankly feel like you're raising a voice at me.
I'm not raising it. I'm absolutely not. I'm upset that I'm being accused and that she's making it sound like more than it is. This is me. This is when I get upset, I'm going to get a little bit loud. And she's lying. She's just lying. She's trying to use this to try to get me evicted is what she's trying to do.
What's the situation with your cats, ma'am, Ms. Myer?
Yes, I rescued Pearl, the one she was talking about, and she got pregnant. I couldn't afford to get her fixed. She's fixed now. She offered to help me with it, and I was like, sure, like that would be great. But she wanted me to put up like $300 and something, which is a lot for me. So I ended up just finding somewhere where I could do it for 90. And so then I told her that. I just simply said, I scheduled something else and it's $90, and that was the end of it. And she was like, I could tell she was upset. She's like, don't ask me to help you anymore. Like, don't ask me to help you. And then she left, and I was just like, okay. My cats are outdoor and indoor cats. They'll come and like meow at the door when they want to come in. So then I'll let them in. I don't have there was no issues with the cats just like roaming. I have friends that have indoor and outdoor cats. It's pretty normal. And then at night I get them in here. The only reason that I feel like they're even by her door or by her car, or they go out into her porch, is because she puts food out there. So she talks about like a raccoon issue, but she puts food out in the front and in the back. And her cats are only indoor cats. So of course it's going to attract animals, or my cats are going to go over there and eat the food that she puts out. I have like talked to the landlord about that as well, because he did come to me the day that she's talking about, like where she said that the landlord was yelling at her. My son and my friend's kids were in the back. So we just went out there to look at them because we know that she will talk to them or she'll yell. So when I went out there, I looked at the landlord, and she seen me look at her. I wasn't staring her down. And so then she starts to yell and says, she's staring me down. Don't you see her? She's staring me down. And then that's why the landlord raised his voice, is because she was yelling. So then he yelled and he said, she's not doing anything. She can look wherever she wants to look. And then he says, like, that's why he raised his voice. So he wasn't directly yelling at her. He was yelling because she was yelling, and he was trying to de-escalate the situation. I wasn't going back there to provoke her. I just wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to talk to the kids, because the kids will come in here and you know how it is with like 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds. They will tell you every single thing that everybody is saying. They'll tell you every single thing. So that's why I was like, I don't want them to see anything. I just don't want them to be around like the dysfunction. My son has never been around people yelling at him like that, so he's not used to it. I know that right now it sounds like it's like so much like she said, like a he said, she said situation. And that's what I was afraid of. And that's what I talked to the cops about. Because I was like, so far, it's just been so many verbal things. I have no intention of trying to get her evicted. That's not why I'm doing this. I just want it to be something where I know for a fact that she's not going to talk to me or talk to my son. The window, she says that she comes, like she literally is saying, I come and talk to her through the window. That isn't a normal behavior. I've lived in apartments. I've lived in duplexes. I've never had neighbors come and talk to me through the window. They will knock on my door, and if I don't answer, I don't answer. And then that's that. And if they want to see me, or they'll leave a note or something, but it's never, I feel like she's saying, even her saying like I come to her window, or like it's just getting to be too much. So I know, and I've talked to the landlord, he doesn't favor me. I think it's because of the way that I speak to him, and we both hold respect for each other, that he is speaking to me the way that he's speaking to me. I've never had any issues. I've never had to call him for anything. If there's something that needs to be fixed, I fix it. I even feel bad even contacting him about this, because he already has so many things that he needs to worry about. And then me saying like, oh, this is the neighbors here talking to me again. The neighbors here going through my coming to my window again. Yeah, it's just gotten to be too much.
You can have the final word there.
I
Miss.
will. She's lying. I got her a $300 voucher in my name. I obviously being a senior, I can get help from other resources. I've never asked her to pay for it. That's why she said she didn't have the money. So she's lying. It was a $300 voucher and I made the appointment with my vet. Anyway, so she's lying about that. I've never yelled at her son, ever. There's been no kids around in the backyard for an entire year. And then all of a sudden, all these kids just show up. But I have never yelled at her. Yes, I'm loud because I'm upset right now, you know? And that's just part of my emotional makeup. That's just how it goes. As far as talking to her through her window, we were cordial at that time. The way it's situated is it's a long driveway, and I drive all the way to the back, and she just pulls up on the gravel. And she has one of those old picture windows. Well, I see her, the curtain was open, we're getting along, and the window's open a little bit. And I walk past and, oh, hi. And instead of going to the door, instead of her getting up, she has to walk around a sectional couch, I chit-chatted with her for a second. There's nothing, I don't see anything odd or mental about that. It's just being neighborly, period. And anyway, she's literally is just taking everything. I will go back to this video. Is that lawful? I mean, it's on private property. I didn't know I was being videotaped.
It's okay to have a security camera over your front door, which is what she has.
I never saw one, and
Well,
I was
it doesn't
kind
mean
of
it's not there.
suspicious, huh?
Doesn't mean it's not there.
Okay, but shouldn't it be posted that it's there?
No.
I read online that it should.
I don't,
Oh, okay,
I
well,
don't
wow.
think so.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get one too, but I didn't have that kind of money. Can she see me?
Can she see you?
Yeah.
From here? Yes, I assume so. She's got her
Okay.
camera on.
So anyway, this is just going back and forth. I am troubled about the continuing. It wasn't so. All I asked for was the kids to have the kids to quiet down. That's all. That's it. Oh, as far as her son, she's making it kind of sound like I'm kind of being a little creepy with her son. I knew that he was home the last time that I knew he was home. I was out spraying the rocks and everything else off the long driveway, and I saw him in there. And I just went up there and talked to him for a minute. He shared some things about himself with me, and I'm right here if you get scared or anything. I've always been nice to him. And he had the guitar for a couple months, but it doesn't matter the length of time. My daughter came over. I didn't know that she still wanted it back because it's a sentimental thing. She doesn't even play. I was going to, and I wrote that. I was looking around for something else to replace it, but none of this is going to happen now. I'm through with her. I don't want her coming in. If the kids come back in there, and kids are loud, and little girls, they're screeching. They're like that. All this kind of behavior, standing there intimidating me. Well, I'm in my own house, or I'm on my deck enjoying my day with my cats, and her friend. Her friend's terrible. Her friend's kind of nasty. She's one that set me off that day. That's why I called her a bitch. And the fight. Oh, well, I don't have to get into that with you. We know that's not true. Then whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
She's going to say whatever she wants to say, and boy, this is going to come back to bite her in her lifetime. Should be dishonest. She will be found out.
So a couple of things. I previously read the definition of unlawful harassment. I'm going to do it again. Actually, hang on just a minute. Sorry. Unlawful harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress and must actually cause substantial emotional distress to the petitioner. Course of conduct is a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. Course of conduct concludes any form of communication, contact, or conduct, including the sending, and it gets in electronic communication. We don't need to do that. You know, this is, these are tough cases, but on the other hand, unfortunately, we see these sorts of cases quite frequently, either apartment complexes, and as far as I can tell, these are two living establishments on the same piece of property, as far as I can tell. Is that accurate?
It is.
Can we agree on that?
It is.
And so apparently there's a shared back, again, Ms. Myer told me this is a shared backyard. You say there's nothing in their contract about that. But Ms. Myer has indicated that the landlord has indicated that's a shared backyard. And that makes sense to me, given the description of the premises. On the other hand, orders of these sorts, you know, in such confined areas, you know, can be problematic. They can be difficult to enforce. They can create all kinds of things about whether or not, you know, does this violate the order or not? You know, if there's distance restrictions, don't come within X amount of feet and all that sort of stuff. And Ms. Myer comes and she's listigated a number of things that Ms. Adams is alleged to have done. You know, and again, you're right in the sense, and Ms. Adams is right in the sense that, yeah, just talking to someone through their window, yeah, that's not a problem. People do that when you walk by. Oh, yeah, how's it going? And that's one characterization of the communication between the conversation through the window. On the other hand, Ms. Myer says, no, she comes and stands at my window and berates me and tells me all the things I'm doing wrong with regard to the cats and my child, I should say, it's not children. And the kids are in the back and all this sort of stuff. And so one person's conversation is another person's, for lack of a better word, harassment. And, you know, and I kind of have to judge this based on, I judge it on a lot of things, what's been submitted, evidence, and the testimony of witnesses and evidence combined with how people behave in court and the manner in which they present themselves. And so you had indicated earlier, you know, I can do what I want. And yes, thank you. I do have the discretion to enter an order that I feel is appropriate. And
May I say one last thing? And then I'll leave you alone.
I'm not sure how I can stop you, but go ahead.
Just for fun. She,
I don't, okay, I'm going to stop you about that. You know,
she
I don't,
indicated,
hang on just a second.
I just
stop.
want to see her
Just
response.
stop for a minute.
Oh.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Okay. So, you know, actually that throwaway comment actually tells me quite a lot. This isn't fun. This
It's
isn't fun
not.
for her. I don't think it's fun for you. It's not very much fun for me to sit there and listen to two people who live next to each other and are going to continue to live next to each other. So when you say things like, well, this is just for fun, kind of tells me how seriously you're taking it. Now, go ahead. You wanted to say something? Go right ahead.
Well, that just kind of popped out of my mouth because I'm bewildered about this, that anybody would say something about another person like this. But I see she does like to gossip. I'm curious as her explanation of she checked that I tried to kill myself. Could we get a response for that? Because I did indicate I couldn't understand it for the longest time, and I wanted to respond to that. And so I Googled it, and there is an explanation why somebody would start that kind of a rumor. And I would like to hear why she would check that on that thing.
Ms. Myer, go ahead.
I'm not exactly sure what she's talking about.
Okay, so hang on just a minute. Let me look at your petition. I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where are you talking about?
I'm gonna get it because I wouldn't have said anything about it if it wasn't on here.
It says on the petition on page 12 of the position, it says suicidal behavior. Describe any threats. And
That's not
blank.
it. There's another place. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just trying to find it for myself. I saw that too, but that's not it. Just 1 second. I think it's before that. Oops, just 1 second, please. Because it's in here. Well, she must know she checked it because,
She said she didn't know what you were talking about.
yeah. Well, I do know what I'm talking about. It's in here. I just need a minute. I'm just overly anxious right now. My heart, here it is. It's on page 2. It says disability, hazard, and weapon information about the restrained person. And it's checked suicide attempt or threats. First, she says,
That was on the law enforcement.
yeah, it says, does a restrained person have a disability, brain injury, or impairment?
That was on the
And it says
LEA.
unknown, and then it's checked suicide attempt. I don't have that in my life.
So it does check that in the information that was sent, the law enforcement. Do you know why that box was checked, Ms. Meyer?
I don't. I did. If she's saying that it has, like, if there's multiple things, if it says like,
No, it
suicide.
says, does this person have a disability, brain injury, or impairment? That's unknown. Hazard information, history includes, and then the box checks. Suicide attempt or threats.
I must have read it where it said or threats, which I was assuming was like threatening. So I thought it was like a multiple
Okay.
thing.
That meant suicide attempt or threats of suicide. So do you take that perceived as threats to you?
Yeah, when she was telling me like, do you want to fight? I was assuming that it was just threats in general. I didn't realize that it said it's to like pertaining to suicide. But there has nothing.
So do you have any thoughts of that, or do you remember anything like, oh, I see what you're saying. But you're not saying there that you're aware of any suicide attempts or not.
No, absolutely not.
Does that clear that up for you?
Yeah. I apologize for my
It's all right.
outburst. I'm very upset by the whole thing because I have to live so close to her and I can't move. I've moved myself out. I'm not well enough to move again, so she can't live with it and she wants to make all this stuff up. I don't know what else to say about it. But I don't know what to tell her about her cats. That's up to you because they're all, and I don't feed them anymore. The landlord did make an issue about me putting the food out, and so I'm not putting any out since he was here. He's in
Okay,
Florida right
well, let me
now.
ask you, why would you do that?
The food?
Yeah,
Okay, because it's cat food. I have 6 cats,
right.
and a lot of
I'm
times,
told
and
they're all inside though.
yes, my cats are inside. That's
So
why I
why
have.
would you put cat food outside?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay,
And they're not allowed outside. They just have the enclosure on the deck. But they're spoiled. They always have a lot of food, dry food and wet food. And there's always leftover. And I don't want anything to go into the garbage. And so I put it out. Well, anyway.
so hang on a second.
Yes.
So you're saying your cats, you put that out there,
Because there's leftovers.
okay, for leftover of your food.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
For,
realize that attracts like other hang on, let me finish, please. The cats and raccoons, which are a danger
Yes.
to cats.
yes.
And so that by leaving that food out there, that attracts
Yes.
those cat
Well, I have
predators.
a raccoon and some babies underneath the house now. They're tearing up underneath the kitchen floor.
Right.
And we're working on that. And I've got a mother and father possum. They're the cutest thing. I got videos on that. And I got a little gray mouse that lives underneath the house. And that little raccoon come up to the door the other day. It was the cutest thing. I have a glass window for my door, and it was like this. I haven't looked up, walking past, I haven't looked up, and it was like this. It was the raccoon, the mama. She just lost a bunch of weight. She asked them for the food.
Right.
It was so
But
cute.
do you understand, while
Yeah.
raccoons are very cute, and I agree with that, those are dangerous for cats.
They already two of them
And so
already
they're,
stole one of my cats and
Right.
took it and ate it. I know. they
right, so
are.
why would you put something out there that attracts them?
I know. I'm my heart's double on that. I know because two of them did take it.
So
My
here's where I'm
God.
at, ma'am. Based on it, again, of course, I have to make certain, I'm hearing one thing from you, I'm hearing another thing from Ms. Meyer. And then and I know this has probably gone on longer than either one of you would have liked, but nonetheless, here we are. And so I have to make determinations one way or the other and, make credibility assessments and then just make a decision based on everything that I've presented. And for what I'm going to do basically is, I do find that and maybe you didn't realize it, and maybe you do now, that your behavior and the interaction between you and Ms. Myer has gone beyond what one would perceive as normal and does go into harassing behavior. So an order is going to be entered, and the only parameter of this order is, like a lot of times we have, don't engage in stalking behavior, which really isn't the case. Can't do really a distance restriction because I can't enter an order that makes you leave or anything like that. You're just not to contact her or her child. Don't communicate with her. Don't do anything. Some of the things you say, I don't necessarily find to be, you might think that she was provoking you, but I can't make any for finding that she did anything to provoke you. She was just out there and she gave me a mean look. Well, I just don't look at that as being provocative. And also, it makes sense to me that that's a shared yard, and that's a big yard that, kids are going to play in. And kids, you have at least one child you mentioned.
I don't have any children.
I thought you said your daughter was on the guitar. Was I wrong about that?
My children are in their 50s.
I
I'm
know.
70 years old.
Well, they're still your children. And when they were young, I'll bet when they played, they made some noise. And so my point being that if you have experience raising children. And when children play with friends outdoors, that sometimes can be loud. And that's just goes with the territory of kids playing. And so, and that's, again, I'm just saying that just for the purpose of saying that. So the order is going to be entered. It's going to be in one place, and you're just not to. And by the other point I was going to make, these cats are Ms. Meyer's responsibility. And she's the one who needs to look after them and all that sort of stuff. And you're not the. And so you just need to remember that and let her take care of her own cats. However, if she's doing something wrong or what have you, that can be up to other people, but you're not to be responsible or worried about her cats. You understand that?
I quit feeding them.
Okay. And so that's where it's at, and it'll exist for 1 year. And That's where we're at. Do you have any questions at all about what this order is going to say?
I'm still concerned about her and her friend standing out in the backyard and trying to intimidate me. I really, truly am. Her friend is not a pleasant person at all.
Your Honor, can I say something?
No, I don't think you should at this time.
Okay.
I'm going to say something though. And that is, her friend isn't here. And, people are going to be able to stand where they're allowed to be. They can stand in the shared backyard. You can too. And you're just not to talk to each other. And if you have an issue with her friend, you can, you can take whatever steps that are necessary to deal with that, or, but that's, I'm not this order doesn't going to govern who she can have over and all that sort of stuff. And if they start doing something, harassing to you, you can bring it back and we can talk about that. But her friend's not here. She's not a part of this right now. Good. I hope so.
I do.
And I hope that if you two can stay away from each other and leave each other alone, things will calm down and everybody can live peacefully in their own place.
What's she gonna do about her cats? They're all over. I'm not feeding them, but they're on my deck. They're on the roof. They're on top of the car. And I quit feeding them. I know they want to eat, but I said, no, I'll get in trouble. Doesn't want me to talk. How do you not talk to cats?
Okay. There's nothing in the order that restrains you from talking to cats.
Well, thank you. Because I don't want the cops to have to waste their time to come out and do that, and I don't want to run over the poor Pearl while she's underneath my car. I love them. I love the cats. And I'm not feeding them. I'm trying to get a raccoon to come out underneath the house so we can trap her with the babies and be done with it. I'm not going to put food out after once I get the raccoons out.
Have you talked with your landlord about the raccoons?
Yeah, we're working on it. He actually had, when the maintenance guy bring trap, he didn't set the trap up right, but yeah, that's the problem because he never goes back to check on it, and you can't leave her. You can't
Raccoons
leave.
can present issues for humans as well.
Huh? Yes, absolutely. Oh, well, that's why we're trapping it. But he brought it out. He didn't set up right. Whoever came out and they didn't even tell me that it was trapping. You can't leave a defenseless animal trapped up in a trap and not and let it starve to death in a trap. So we're working on it. Landlord's in Florida. He'll be back in 2 weeks. We're taking care of it because he's doing. It's under there, tearing up the kitchen floor. I don't want my floor tore up.
I don't think your landlord does either.
No, he doesn't. We're working on it.
We'll give you a copy of that order for you to go. Any questions? Again, I'm going to leave with this, and I hope you take this to heart, Ms. Adams. You're just not to contact Ms. Myer or her child, communicate with her in any way.
And that goes with them too.
No, it does not.
Oh.
The only person on this order is the petitioner.
They can contact me and bother me.
If they contact you, then you can go and get your own order. But right now, the only person who's subject to the order,
Well, I
she's a
may have to
petitioner.
do that.
You can certainly do that.
Certainly do that.
That's it for today, ma'am. Ms. Myer, a copy of this order will get emailed to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.